We started hearing stories and reports about this counteroffensive in the Kursk region probably about 2 days ago. Very little details, very few specifications. But it seems like that from what we hear, that the Russians are trying to push in several areas within that Kursk region, which borders northern Ukraine, to try and create a pincer movement and split the Ukrainian soldiers and regiments inside that area. That's all we know, to be honest, because unless a journalist and other people are actually inside that region to verify what is being reported, is actually quite difficult to get a sense of what's happening. But we're told that this is taking place around the Koronevo area and town, and there seems to be a definite push in several different locations against the Ukrainian soldiers. And of course, we're 5 weeks in now into this incursion by the Ukrainians into southern Russia, in this rural and, to be honest, quite remote area of southern Russia. And so far, it's not clear how many troops the Russians have moved or pulled back from eastern Ukraine, where they are pushing heavily against the Ukrainian defenders, and possibly move those soldiers further north. That's not clear, but it seems now, at least, the Russians are trying a defensive movement to push some of the Ukrainian soldiers back from that Kursk region.
We're also hearing, Iolo, that there's been a Russian drone attack in Ukraine's Sumy region. That's an area you visited just recently.
Well, there have been several. It happens every day, to be honest with you. Yes, Sumy is targeted. Probably the main reason because of its proximity to southern Russia and the fact that it was that stage-off point to bring the Ukrainian troops into the Kursk region. So I was in Sumy for a number of days, and yes, there were constant attacks and missiles. We've actually just heard 25 minutes ago, 2 loud explosions just on the outskirts of Kharkiv, we believe, glide bombs which are flown in by an aircraft, and then they're dropped almost anywhere. So those 2 explosions, and we hear the air raid sirens, whether in Sumy or whether here in Kharkiv or anywhere in this northern region of Ukraine. We hear them several times a day. Air raid sirens, as was given about half an hour ago, and then these missiles, rockets, Shahed rockets made in Iran, or these glide bombs, which are old-fashioned bombs with wings on them, which are just dropped off Russian aircraft. So the danger there for ordinary people in this northern region is every single day, and that's why I think that the reaction, which has increased and intensified in the last few weeks, probably is because partly of that incursion into the Kursk region, not just in this region and these cities, but also in smaller towns and villages, and they are targeted. Sometimes one thinks at random, but still there are always people who are being injured, and around half a dozen people died overnight, not just in this region but in many other regions. And Kyiv, the capital city Kyiv here in Ukraine, is also targeted often, and there have been far more attacks in the last 2 to 3 weeks than possibly before the beginning of summer.